this week's chapter of Bleach, the battle between Shunsui Kyoraku, Nanao Issei, and Lil Baro finally comes to an end. Outside of the flashback sequence in this week's chapter, which was basically just expanding on Shunsui and why he holds onto those two hairpins, which basically he's carrying on the memories of his brother and his brother's wife. The rest of this chapter was basically just Nanao and Shunsui finishing off Lil Baro in this big massive attack, and that's pretty much it. The good news is, it does look really awesome. I especially love the look of Lil Baro's final attack in this chapter, which is known as the Trumpet, which basically takes the form of this massive trumpet. Still just going in line with the whole angel theme, and it really looks awesome how it's like this massive trumpet which just creates this blast which just completely destroys, obliterates, and erases this entire part of the city. But Shunsui decides to help out Nanao. They combine their powers together, and they're able to reflect the attack right back at him, and he's completely cut down the middle. You can see a chunk of his face is gone, his shoulder's been cut down, and he has been completely destroyed. Now, what's most interesting is that he actually sort of takes his defeat in stride and sees it as him sort of succumbing to his own sin as he explodes in mid-air, and his energy just goes all over the place. It's a really cool looking final panel, but that was it. I just expected maybe it to be a little bit more elaborate. So what's the rundown on this week's chapter of Bleach? This one was very simple, but honestly I liked it. This was a little story arc that sort of painted Shunsui in a completely different light. I now see him as a much different character. Before, he was always just sort of like the lazy jokester, but now I really appreciate like how far he's gone to protect Nanao. And what's really interesting is this really is the first time that Nanao's like ever been in like a real sword fight. At the beginning of the chapter, she's completely freaking out and like worrying if she's going to even be able to survive the pain that she's going through. And if it wasn't for Shunsui being there, she probably would have been killed. And that does sort of diminish her character a little bit, but at the same time, on her own, even with her weapon, I don't think she would have been able to defeat Lil Baro. It's only through her relationship with Shunsui that they were able to overcome this adversary, who was very powerful. I mean, the destruction that he caused during this battle was insane, especially in this week's chapter when he used that big trumpet attack, which just annihilated everything like in an instant. Just very destructive. His overall design, too, I always loved it. I love the evolution of Lil Baro's character. He started out just sort of standard, just sort of a wacky design. He was a sniper, but little by little, he kept transforming into all these crazy monsters with these really flashy-looking attacks, and that's definitely the most memorable thing about this battle. I just sort of wish it would have ended in a slightly different fashion. I don't know. There were some things in this chapter that were a little slow, like how last week's chapter ended with Shunsui already helping out Nanao, and then we had to wait like a couple of pages before we got to it again in this chapter, and the flashbacks were nice. If anything, just to see a younger version of Shunsui and him hanging out with his brother, and his brother beating the crap out of him, I think that's really funny. Just getting to see him get knocked down a peg or two by his brother, who really didn't get showcased in the series at all. I actually would like to learn a little bit more about those guys, but honestly, I'm glad they're keeping the flashbacks to a minimum, and this is pretty much the end of this battle right here. Unless Lil Baro has some other weird secret ability that we don't know about, but I'm pretty sure that he's accepted his defeat in this chapter. On the technical side of things, the artwork did look very nice in this chapter, especially the destruction and that big final panel with his energy just exploding all over the place. That's a really memorable image. So this was a pretty exciting chapter of Bleach. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but it's definitely something that all Bleach fans should definitely check out, especially if they're following this arc. It was a pretty exciting battle. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next. So I'm going to give this week's chapter a 4 out of 5. I really liked it, but for the most part, I think it was a little slow, and they maybe could have done something a little flashier, but still, I'm pretty entertained by it, and I thought it was awesome. So check it out, Bleach fans. You might see something you like. But before you guys leave today, if you did read this week's chapter of Bleach, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. What did you think about this entire battle in general? Do you really think it's over? What do you want to see next from the Bleach series? And what do you hope to see from the final arc of Bleach? Make sure to tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!